Ah, movie posters. We live to see 'em, we love to hate 'em, we hate to love 'em, and we pay to hang 'em.
This is gonna be so much fun!
These days it seems that many people feel movie posters are the epitome of a broken Hollywood.
Well, maybe the movie wasn't an Academy Award winner?
One where derivative branding and lazy repetition rules over creative innovation.
I'm gonna take you to the bank, Senator Trent. To the blood bank.
If the movie industry has become a mass corporate slaughterhouse for hulking cash cows, posters have perhaps become the sea of smiley beef-to-be mascots that are so forcefully reassuring that they reek of old cheese.
My God, what is that smell?
So how great is it when a truly eye-catching mascot or movie poster comes along and makes us forget our cynicism for just a few seconds? You know, maybe even draws us back to our local Palace of Dreams. Today, I'm going to share 10 posters from 2017 that don't make me want to become a vegan. Number 10. Triple X. Character posters was one of those trends that continued to pick up steam in 2017, and perhaps Triple X did it best with conventional but eye-popping pseudo-watercolor designs that literally add a splash of appealing colors to each portrait. Seems like every action movie these days is trying to look like a comic book, but hey, is that really so bad? Number 9. Muse. This one rides a fine line. It's almost too simple for its own good, but the eerie expression on the character's face coupled with that moody lighting just really works. Is she drowning in the black veil or emerging from its shadows? Is she a villain, a victim, or both? It's evocative and intriguing, and gives you a good idea of the mood and the genre of the film without giving anything away. Number 8. SpiderMan Homecoming. Okay, so we've all seen the infamous floating head poster that was mocked mercilessly by, well, the entire internet, and while I don't think it's the worst poster of the year, it certainly sours the Homecoming brand. But it shouldn't make us forget about the teaser posters that ingeniously pose Spider-Man leisurely hanging around fictionalized New York locales. These posters perfectly captured the refreshed style and direction of the franchise without spoiling anything of the plot. The way they seamlessly blend comic art and live-action sensibilities is really impressive. It's one of those things that I think a lot of poster artists try and replicate and frankly fail at. The other thing that makes these posters stand out is just how colorful they are. In an era where everyone else is using selective contrasting colors to make their properties more distinctive, Spider-Man succeeds by doing just the opposite, while keeping true to its comic roots.
Peter, you still with us?
Yeah.
Number 7. Kong Skull Island. In 2017, this franchise brought not one, not two, but a whole slew of international posters that all strike the perfect balance between nostalgic throwback and contemporary branding, with suitably epic proportions. The character designs, the illustrations, the whole scale, proportions, and composition. It's not even really accurate to the film, but it totally doesn't matter. What it is accurate to the film's style and its roots. I don't even care that they lean on the overused blue and teal color schemes. Take my money, you big furry menace.
What you're looking at is a monster from some bygone era.
Number 6. War of the Planet of the Apes. By far my favorite poster for this movie is the one you almost never see. The others were just okay. Once a franchise gets to a certain level of popularity, it gives marketers and designers the opportunity to play with the conventions of the genre. It's still rarely done, but here it's done, and so well. It's touching, perhaps a bit unnerving, still colorful and arresting. I've kind of fell out of love with this franchise, but this poster makes me want to see the latest installment. Number 5. Jigsaw. This one is a bit of a misnomer. Individually, I think these would be horrible posters, but as a marketing campaign, they really deserve a shout out. The actual Jigsaw poster is just okay, but these teaser images are strange and disturbing while potentially reaching beyond its typical audience. They look more like ads for Sears or The Gap, but that's kind of the point. Taken out of the context of a movie theater, they're sure to give many passers-by pause and probably goosebumps. And even if you know their movie posters, the juxtaposition in graphic styles is memorable, to say the least. But perhaps it wouldn't work without this ingenious, simple tagline. Overall, it's just a great conversation piece.
No, it's not creepy at all.
And speaking of great conversation pieces, number 4, Ice Cream Truck. It's hard to make a poster stand out, with drab colors and typography is simply the most appropriate for the story, but the concept here is strong enough that it carries the whole design. Likewise, it's hard to convince people to see a movie when it looks sad and depressing, but the gritty title treatment and muted details add a foreboding sense of dread that's very intriguing. In other words, it's plain old vanilla but tainted with a lick of horror. Very sweet.
Come on up. That's where all my coolers are.
Number 3, Baby Driver. Like Kong, Baby Driver benefits from a unique range of posters that, despite their variety, harmoniously build a memorable brand for the movie. The posters here are almost too vintage for my liking, actually, kind of lacking that modern twist that really innovates the art form, but it's hard not to fall in love with the visual lyricism and movement these emote. Pretty appropriate for a movie in which both music and movement are central themes. Number 2, Void. Here's a twisted throwback sci-fi horror flick with artistic pizzazz to rival the strangest of things. Get it? Okay, so it's full-on vintage, no modern twist here, but I'm gonna give it a break because given the source material, I think it's totally appropriate this time. Like Kong, The Void has a whole collection of mesmerizing posters. It's hard to pick a favorite. What I think it achieves even better than Kong or Baby Driver, though, is a cohesive brand with that creepy triangle it just burns into your retinas, promoting a logotype as well as a film, and potentially a future franchise. Number 1, Easy Living. I haven't seen this movie, and I'd still hang up any 3 of its brilliant theatrical posters in a heartbeat. And likewise, I haven't seen this movie, but I know exactly what it's about just from the posters. The genius here is not just how captivating and memorable the concepts are, but how succinctly they communicate the movie's central themes. Just from looking at any one of these posters, right away I know that this movie is going to play with themes of twisted reality and manipulation in the Western world of business and feminist entrepreneurialism. It's American Psycho with a gender twist. I get it. All of that and much more is conveyed in provocative illustrations that are simple enough to be clear at a distance, and yet so well executed that they stand up under heavy scrutiny. The complementary colors are easy on the eyes, but don't detract from the edginess or unsettling nature of the designs.
I will continue to say to myself, my place is at the top.
Honorable mention, Thor Ragnarok. This is a character-centric poster done right, with clean, cohesive composition and images that really capture the personality of each character, with colors, scale, position, and even lighting that gives a clear sense of visual hierarchy and draws our eyes towards the protagonist. The thing I really love about this poster, though, is the color scheme. As sad as it is, simply by replacing the done-to-death teal or dark blue with a vibrant green, this key art really stands out from the crowd, and by swapping the usual lens flare for this abstract pattern, it creates an illusion of light and depth without reaching for an excuse. The results are simple, good old-fashioned, enticing eye candy. Can't you just taste this wonderful green apple artificial flavoring? Looks like it'd be more at home on the cover of a Genesis game than in a contemporary movie theater, and that's probably why I like it so much. So, there you have it. Looking back at these posters, I'm actually really optimistic for 2018 and the emerging trends towards growing preference for traditional illustrative techniques and various retro aesthetics. But also, with a few exceptions, a move towards simple, high-concept compositions, perhaps even inspired by the likes of Saul Bass, and away from more recent action-packed posters of the Photoshop era. I think both stylistic choices have their place, but it's good to see the field diversified nonetheless. Of course, sharing another's genius is never as fun as mocking others' idiocy, so stay tuned for a list of the 10 worst posters of 2017. If you want to check that out, be sure you're subscribed and tap the bell so your subscription actually works like a subscription. Thanks, guys. As usual, disclaimer, these are obviously my subjective and fairly uneducated opinions as a humble and barely professional designer of posters more appropriate for the upcoming turkey list in this gallery of fine art. My opinions are based on the art alone and are not reflective of my opinions on the films they represent, which I haven't even seen, batteries not included.
And of course, this is just a gay romp. It's a party. It's fun.
But you also
But what's
see the
good about
wistfulness
this
here.
is it's real. It's very real. I've been to a party before where people's heads were actually on the balloon.
And is that
Hey,
something?
I want to go to this party. This is a party I would go to.
Okay, great.
Because it's
Okay,
got
great.
balloons with different
Okay.
colors.